Hey, it's Curly, and today I've got for you a Deer Days, I guess, deck profile, but today we're going to be using Luke here. So let's take a look here. Our starting hand is actually pretty decent because we already got the Order, Dragon, Lane is okay to have, getting 2 heals, maybe not as much, but we'll see how this goes because we've got ourselves some kind of Starkea variant here. But, oh, it's looking like Maelstrom. Oh, that's kind of fitting considering we're doing set 8 stuff. But yeah, set 8 has just been released in Deer Days, and it is quite a great set in terms of like Deer Days because it gives you a lot of new decks. Even more so, I guess revitalizes decks is maybe the right answer because there's a lot of cool promos that were included in the set. But in general, just the set itself brought in a lot of cool decks. So it's pretty cool to see that. We can actually use that in Deer Days now. We'll be doing these videos really similar to what we did in Vanguard 0, RIP Vanguard 0, but essentially we'll just be doing a fight first to, you know, get a feel for the deck. I'll show what it can do, hopefully, and go over some of its like interesting pieces or whatever the case may be, interesting combos, strengths and weaknesses, that sort of stuff. Just give you the rundown really quickly. Then once the game's over, win or lose, we'll show the actual deck, take a look at what the build is actually like, and you know, the actual view, and go over some of the cards, and then just do another fight if there's time. I don't know how long these games go in terms of Deer Days for recording, because I've done a bunch of streams for Deer Days. I stream Deer Days, I think, pretty much every Thursday now. That seems to be the thing that I do, actually, right here on this channel, so you don't have to go over like Twitch or anything like that. It's on the CurlyHairedVanguard channel. You can go ahead and check that out on Thursdays if you want. I will always post beforehand a like stream reminder thing that'll show up on your feed early on if I am streaming. You know, tell you the time, and you'll get a general gist of what's going to be going on. Given the thumbnail, so like this past Thursday, I streamed Luke here in rank, and so you would see in the thumbnail Luke here, right? So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so speaking of Luke here, we're playing here today. She's one of the encounters from set 8, and it is probably my favorite deck of all time, just because of all the time we spent in 0, but it is also a really fun deck that I like from Standard as well. I just don't play it as much, but I've actually been playing it a lot more recently. We're going to go ahead and discard the Rising Dragon here and use the first skill of our first grade 1 from the ride deck here in the Silver Thorn Irina, which lets us, when we ride a Pale Moon unit specifically, look at the top 7 cards from our deck here and put one into Soul. This is kind of tricky because you definitely want to get this Order here, which we'll talk about in a bit, in your Soul as much as possible. But when you ride the grade 2, you can actually Soul Charge a card, and then, or you ride the grade 3 over the grade 2, I should say, you can then add a card from your Soul to hand. So it's kind of tempting to add the PG here. I am playing, I think, 4 copies of this Order now, and this is Maelstrom. So I guess let's go ahead and actually we have a PG. Oh, we do have a PG in hand. Okay, so never mind. We'll add the Order here for consistency. And let's go ahead and move this back and play out this Rising Dragon here, who has the ability that allows us to put a card from hand into Soul when we play it, which is really useful because then we draw a card, and that allows us to basically you know, cycle out some cards. And the main important thing that it lets us do is it lets us put this Order in Soul, because you can actually use it in Soul. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So let's go ahead and just swing here for 18. Luke here is a deck, of course, from Pale Moon in Premium and V Premium that focuses really on Soul manipulation, filling up your Soul with certain cards, not so much filling your Soul with like any card, you know, like Dark States or some of Dark Regulars. I meant to say that the other way around, but you know what I mean. But you basically fill up your Soul with specific units, such as the specific Silverthorn units. Yikes. This person is not having a great day here because you want to have specific cards. You don't need to have an exact number of cards in your Soul. and that lets you get off a lot of different effects. Typically, what you do is mid-battle, you call out units from your soul in order to get additional attacks. And that's what we can do with this order that we put into our soul. That says if our Vanguard is Lukier, we can counterblast 1, choose a rear guard, and it gets the red text ability that when my Vanguard attacks, you can put that unit into soul, and then call out another unit with, I think, Pale Moon from your soul, with equal or less to your Vanguard, but we're on grade 3, so it doesn't matter. So that helps us get 4 attacks, and that combos in really nicely with our Rising Dragon here, who I'm hoping does not get retired, who has the skill where if you have a Lukier Vanguard, if you called out something from your soul, this unit gets 10k. However, if you called out 4 cards or more from your soul, this guy actually gets another 10k, so it becomes 20k, being a huge 30k beater. Which makes him the typical target for you to, put into soul and call him out, because you can swing in with his big numbers. And then, of course, Lukier herself, where is my right duck? Oh, it's up here, okay. Herself has 2 abilities that are actually really cool. The first one is, after on Vanguard's over, you counterblast 1, put a card from your hand into soul, and then you choose up to 3 different units with different grades from your soul and call them out on board. And if your opponent's on grade 3 or greater, the units you called out get 5k. So this skill is really good in allowing you to, get a board out of nothing, because you can have your soul, fill up your board, after a board wipe, you can go ahead and fill up your board and get your attackers. It also helps out your Rising Dragon, because that's easily 3 units, right? They do have to be different grades, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. But that's actually not that big of a deal. I've never actually faced off against Maelstrom, to be honest with you. So I don't know how this is gonna go. Given I have 2 of the order in my soul here, we do have the... We're gonna guard this first attack. I know that they can do at least 4 attacks, right? Because this, I think, can make an extra attack. The Maelstrom itself, it chooses and retires already. Yeah, so we're unfortunately gonna lose our dragon here. And then I think it will do the Will Salt here to switch these 2, and this probably gets power. Which is why I'm like kind of guarding early to just soak up some hits here. I guess we'll keep the cat. I wanted to discard it here, or I should say guard with it here. But considering we know that our Rising Dragon is going to perish, we can use it to put the Rising Dragon back into Soul, because the Falcate Performer here just says when it boosts, choose 1 card from your Soul, from your drop, I should say, and put it into your Soul. I guess this attacks twice, which is pretty interesting. We can intercept here, since it's going to get bopped anyways, right? We're running a little bit on time there. So we'll go ahead and intercept there. So I guess Maelstrom gets 5 attacks, right? Because this is 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th attack, and then Rule Saw is going to make this the 5th attack. Interesting. They also don't have a lot of cards in hand, so if we can get through this, that would be nice. We'll go ahead and take this attack because we're only at 1 damage. We need 2 counterblasts for our play. The order costs 1 counterblast, and the skill of Lukier costs 1 counterblast. So we can take this here pretty comfortably. They actually did amass a pretty interesting hand in terms of, I don't know why I said interesting, but in terms of like the size. So hopefully we can get a defensive here. Got a pretty cool animation there. We're unfortunately not going to get a defensive because I believe this gets power when it swings in. Okay, seems like it just gets 5k, which is fine. Unless this gives it 5k? No? Okay, so we can easily use our heal guard here to block this attack, so we don't get pushed to 3. Even though that wouldn't be horrible, because it is pretty early in the game. But we'll go ahead and use that. The only problem is that whatever we draw here, we're going to have to discard it. Whoa. Oh, it's exactly... Oh, I'm stupid. Math is hard. I forgot that I am on grade 2. And 20... 25... 10 and 15 is 25. That is unfortunate. That is fine. Just means we have no way to get back our Rising Dragon, but hey, whatever. So I guess that returns to the hand, which is pretty cool. We did get back the Falcate Performer. Oof, I think we might actually have to be stupid here and throw out our PG. We're gonna go ahead and ride into Lukier. Use the skill of Silver Thorn Marionette Linen here. Soul Charge 1, she's gonna give us a Lin. We can add a card from our soul to our hand here. We're gonna keep the orders there. We're gonna play out this dragon and this as our grade 1. So we can actually grab Lynn, try and make use of that. I don't think I want to call anything else out, but we can give it a shot here. Let's put in Lynn here, see if maybe we can nab a grade 3 or something like that we can call. Oh, we actually do not get anything. I don't mind putting a Lynn in Soul. I can try and use her skill here. So we're gonna go ahead and counter blast 1. Put in our Rising Dragon into Soul here. And we're gonna call out a grade 0, a grade 1, and a grade 2 here. We're gonna put the grade 0, we're gonna have to put it here to get the attacks and do our columns as such. I guess I could have put it here. I usually typically put her behind Vanguard, but I don't feel like putting up the Lynn. It doesn't really make a huge difference. We will not use the skill here, but we will put the Falcate Performer over here in the back row. And this is typically the turn you want to do with Lucier here. And we're going to use the skill of the Order here to counterblast 1 from our Soul. So you can still only use 1 Order per turn. But we're going to go ahead and choose our Dragon here. So he's going to be able to swing in here and come out and swing in again. Which will hopefully win us the game, we'll see. The Breathing Dragon here is pretty cool, because he has a skill where if he's placed from Soul, if you have Lucier as your Vanguard, you Soul Blast 1, and Lucier gets the ability where all your front row rear guards get an additional 5k. So that's how we get a lot of power, because between Lucier giving 5k, the Breathing Dragon giving 5k, we're able to pretty easily get some huge numbers. Even though we're not a Persona Ride, this Dragon here is gonna now, thanks to his skill, and the Order allowing us to call him out twice here, we got ourselves a pretty big giant column here without Persona Ride. We could have also done it on the Ilanella here and had her perhaps go into Soul to get out the Lillian, who gets 10k, becomes a 10k guard when you have Lucier. But we wouldn't be able to get the double swing in with this, which I guess is more potent for ending the game. We'll see. If that matters, we don't really have a lot of cards in the hand here. We do get the critical trigger, which is very nice. So we can put the crit here, power on the right column in order to try and close this out. Oops, we're going to get the heal trigger, which is unfortunate, but it is going to give us a lot of power here. I think we should put this here. That, I think, is the better use here. So I think we'll try and... let's see here. This is 48. Whoops, and that's 43. That is a smaller attack, so I guess I wanted to do that. I was going to consider if they hit like a heal or a crit or something, or a over trigger. But this does force them to use a lot of cards from their hand here. Which means they possibly won't be able to guard this, because this is at least 2 triggers and something else. They have just 2 triggers, and even if they put this in, it's going to exactly match our attack here, so they're going to have to do a little bit better than that. So they're just going to take the hit there. Very good. So that's basically what you want to do. That's a typical Lucier turn. Typically you don't win the game so quickly. I just got really lucky with the over trigger on turn 2 there, but that's just how things go. Just be good, check the over trigger. So here is the list that I'm using myself. You can kind of use this list if you want in person. The only thing I would swap out is I would take out the Falcate Performers for Zargon that we have right now from set 9, and possibly take out some Lillians and maybe a Lynn, and put in the Laminia, the Psycho card where you discard, draw a card. In terms of over triggers, I don't know which is best yet. I'm still messing around with that. But alright, so this is Lucier here, as we went over. She has a skill where you can counter blast 1, put a card from your hand into Soul, call up to 3 cards from your Soul with different grades, and if your opponent's on grade 3, all those units you get out get 5k. We didn't get to see this, but she has another skill where at the end of the turn you put 2 rear guards into your Soul and you draw a card. So this allows you to keep your cards safe. Typically, your main key pieces are your Silver Thorn, Rising Dragon, and your Breathing Dragon. So those are the things you constantly want to, pull out from your Soul, especially considering that this gets a skill where you pull it out from Soul you can Soul Blast and give Lukier 5k, or give Lukier give 5k to all your rear guards, right? The Rising Dragon, of course, that's 10k if you call something your soul, 10k again if you call out 4. So that's the main gist of it, and we want to just use the order here, the Hurry and Join Loyal Servants, which you can activate from your soul, which is really nice. And it just says Counterblast 1, choose a unit, and when your Vanguard attacks, you put that unit to soul, call out another unit that is Pale Moon, and this gives you your 4th attack, and it gives you your 4th card from soul. Because right now, the only way to call out something from soul is using that grade 3 from set 7, but that costs Counterblast, and we don't really like that. This is already a 2 Counterblast per turn play. We don't want to make it 3. But, you know, sometimes you have the wiggle room, because we do have here the Countercharger in the Ursulitz, who just says if this is pulled out from Soul and placed on rear, if your Vanguard's Lukier, you Soul Blast 1 counter charge. So typically, what you do is you bring out this, you bring out the Breathing Dragon, and, you know, maybe the Rising Dragon, or you know, the Lillian if you have to, or what I usually do is bring out the grade 0 here, put her behind Lukier just so that her attack is a little bit threatening, because Lukier's swing is usually just PG'd, or, you know, people don't care too much about it because it doesn't have any pressure on it, no crit, no triple drive or anything like that, right? So I make that attack a little bit harder to guard, but that easily gives you the grades that you need. It's typically just the breathing and this that matter, because you can Soul Blast 2, get counter charge and 5k, and this is a, you know, grade 3, so it hits for decent numbers, and then you pull out the Rising Dragon, have it restand. That's typically, you know, your bread and butter combo right there. Other than that, the couple of tech options we have here are the Lillian, who just says if your Vanguard is Lukier on place on either Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle, she gets 5k attack and shield. So she's a decent backup for your Rising Dragon right now. There's not really any other options that you can do. You don't have any other Pale Moon units that you can play. We're kind of just playing that for the backup, but also because of the 5k shield. We have her in the Ride deck, because on Ride of Lukier, and if you ride Lukier over her specifically, you Soul Charge 1, choose a card from your hand, and from your soul, and add it to your hand. So again, when you Soul Charge here with Irina, you know, who says whenever you ride the Lillian over her, you look at the top 7, put a card from your from them into your soul. You have to kind of choose what you want. You can have a Persona Ride PG to add to your hand, or you choose something like the order that you want to keep there, in which case you typically just grab the Lillian, so at least you have something that you can use in your hand. Even though sometimes you end up just putting it back into soul with the skill of Lukier, because you need to put something back into your soul, right? We use the Falcate Performer. I'm not a big fan of this card, which is what I'm saying, you know, if he eventually gets replaced with Zargon, because he works out a lot better. This works out way better in Drag Jewel, not so much in Lukier, because you have, you know, you don't Soul Blast 4, so your soul isn't losing cards that easily, where this condition comes off, but it just, when it boosts, doesn't have to hit. You choose a card from your drop, and if your soul does not have the same grade as that card, you put it into your soul. So typically what happens is that you have like a Persona Ride in there, or you have this in there, or another copy of the order, right? So this sometimes doesn't turn up, so I tend to like discard this sometimes, but it is very useful for allowing you to recycle your orders, getting key pieces like your Rising Dragon back into play. And then we just play the Lin just as a way to fill up our soul and to do some selective soul charging, you know, try and keep our triggers in the deck. The trigger lineup is pretty simple. We're just playing here 8 crit, 3 draw. You can go for 4 draw, it's fine. We're playing normal heal triggers because I don't feel like there's anything crazy that requires us to play different heal triggers. Minerva is a thing now, so she does restand, but that's about it. You can also try and play the crit triggers against Eva, who I know is going to be a thing now. Playing Tomar is always really funny because her voice lines are a bit wild in this game. Alright, so we've got ourselves game 2 against a possibly rank 8 deck. It's probably going to be Eva, because Eva did get a lot of good support in set 8. Did propel her to be the best deck for a long time, so we'll see how this goes here. I don't think Lukier has really a great matchup against Eva. If she goes first, Lukier, you can, you know, try and force out some hand. You have the ability to rush a little bit, but The crits kind of hurt like a lot. You can take one of them because you do need the 2 counter blasts, but I don't think she pushes enough damage to compete with Eva in terms of like numbers. It's actually going to be Prison in here. Wow, that's really cool. Maybe not actually cool because Prison's, I mean, it's not the worst matchup. You do have the ability to use your soul because you have a little bit of excess soul, but I've actually never played Prison with Lucier, so we'll see how this goes. I'm actually going to use the order because it is their first turn, so they can kind of do that as opposed to if it was their second turn. This girl is going to be real annoying, as well as the later Tate, because it's going to minus all our 5k. But since we are going second, it shouldn't be that big of a deal here. So let's see. I think we probably want to give them our Rising Dragon when they go into pink here. So let's go ahead and try and discard the counter charger here. It's going to be very important for this match, but we'll see if we can actually get her off. We can try and use her immediately here, or get her into soul immediately here. Just in terms of like filling up our soul, right? Just so that, you know, when we use the soul blast stuff out, we can. Typically, the ride line gives you that fodder. I like to keep the grade 0 around just in case, but if you have a grade 3 that you can call out, then you don't really need it as much. If we can get the over trigger or something like that, that'll help us out a lot, but now it's going to be a heal trigger here. So we're going to give them the Rising Dragon so that we can try and keep using his skill to cycle cards from our hand. It's a good thing we didn't try and rush here, because they are actually going to hit the heal. It seems like this is like a max rarity Prison deck. I can respect it. I unfortunately do not have the Belgian Whistle on Lucier just yet. I didn't craft, or I didn't grind enough early enough, you know, before the set came out to do so. But soon we'll be all glizzed out. They actually discarded the Pure Light, which tells me they probably have at least another Pure Light in hand here, right? So this is going to put the top card of our deck into Prison. Okay, that's fine. Because we can call that out. And they're going to use this guy here to put our cat in Prison, which I think we'll probably just keep him there for a bit. I don't know. So I don't have too big of a hand here. Okay, good. Because if they played the Cuff Spring, that would kind of suck, because I don't have a lot of cards that I want to put into Prison right now, right? So we're just going to have to take some of these attacks here to try and get some counter blasts. We do have this in Soul, which means that, you know, our counter blast 2 per turn is now counter blast 1 if we have the Soul. So we're going to be needing a lot of Soul here. And Falcate does not really help with that, because you can, of course, have at most 4 soul with him unless you have a lot of the same grade for one side, right? So we'll also take this, just so we can try and empty out our Prison here. We're going to take that. This is actually going to be 23, so hopefully we can hit another draw trigger here. No, we're actually going to hit the heal trigger, which is, you know, pretty good as well, because we still have to face up Counter Blast here. And we also deny this attack here, which is good. We were able to get the Counter Blast we needed. We didn't have to guard from hand, which is also pretty good. So we'll see how this goes. That is a bit unfortunate. I don't think I want to discard the Falcate Performer. But let's go ahead and discard the heal trigger here. Let's go ahead and use the skill of Irina here. Look at the top 7. I'm thinking we probably need as many Rising Dragons as we can get here. I mean, I probably should have gotten the Breathing Dragon. That was my hubris. But alright, so let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Use the second one here to counterblast. And we can actually go ahead and call out our grade 3 here. Use that to pressure them. We're going to use this to put the order into our soul. Draw another card. We have pretty much every grade in soul here. We got another PG, which is okay. There's nothing the Falcate can do for us, to be honest. Other than give us a booster, I think what we'll do is we'll go to battle here. This girl is kind of useless, but this one is going to get a little bit stronger. So let's go ahead and swing in here. They're possibly going to intercept. but we'll see. Yeah, they're actually gonna take it here. That's why playing against somebody is always pretty interesting. Alright, so they are gonna lose that, so she's pretty much out of the game at this point. Alright, which is good to see. This is gonna be an issue, because it is gonna get 5k, but I think it's not that big of a deal. I think we just want to rush swing to face as much as we can until the pure light comes out. Next turn we just take everything that we can. You know, we have the 1 damage so that we can pop off and try and end the game here. We do have a dragon. We have another one each soul, so we might actually be able to do something here. They are going to guard from hand here, which means they only have 3 cards in hand. One of them should be a pure light, considering they discarded one early here, right? So they might not have a lot for next turn, so if we can get maybe some good triggers in or something like that, we might be able to do something here. I got the DSR. Is it premium? It is not premium, not yet. Okay, fair enough, I respect it. It is 1 billion D crafting points. So now they have just the 1 card in prison. They unfortunately used this first, so they kind of screwed themselves. Because they could have drawn a card if they did it in the reverse order. But alright. Now they do have 3 cards in prison, which is gonna give this the triple drive. I could have taken out, you know, the cat, but they would have just put everything in prison anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. I think we're just gonna take this here. You know, if they check OT, whatever, we just gonna have to live with that. So they got a shovel set in hand. They got a draw trigger, which unfortunately means our hand knowledge is a little murky, as well as they're gonna have 6 cards in hand, 7 cards in hand after this, and another pure light. So we know that's definitely coming down. In terms of defensives, doesn't seem the highest, right? So we might be able to eke out a win here, or at least make it so that the pure light turn is not so bad. We're gonna hit a defensive here, which is insane how many defensives we've managed to hit. So that does not turn off the hit just yet, but I think we'll take it. Our hand is pretty good, to be honest, in terms of guarding, so I think we can actually go to like 4 here somewhat comfortably. We're gonna lose an order, which sucks, but that's okay. Because we can easily PG everything, take an attack, and if we push them, we'll be okay. But let's just not get pushed to 4 just yet, just in case, you know, we need a little buffer here, like they somehow go ham or something like that, right? So let's see here. We're obviously going to play the Breathing Dragon. We have a cat in prison that I guess we'll pull out. So I guess I will drop... Well, the wind does give me soul. As does the Falke Performer. That is kind of tricky. She guarantees me the soul, whereas, like... Oh, my controller died. It looks like... Oh, well that's awkward. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna have to play here. Hopefully I don't mess this up too much. So X is cancelled, Z is confirmed. Okay. And I can do this, right? Okay. I don't know. I don't feel like the Falke. I already have a Falke, right? So we can just go ahead and discard. That's not the right button. Discard Falke. Go here into Luke here. Use the skill here to soul charge 1. It's gonna be Persona right here. I think we'll actually add that to hand here. We can go ahead and I think use the skill, right? How do I view my soul? S. So we'll call out this, and we'll put in the Rising Dragon into soul. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and use Lukier's ability. We'll counterblast. Whoops. We'll counterblast this. Sorry, I usually play on control. There we go. And we're gonna put that into soul. We're gonna call this out. We're gonna call this out. We're gonna call this out. We're gonna put this here, and put this here, and we're gonna put this here, right? We don't really have anything we want to put into soul per se, but I guess I could get rid of the Lin. We're gonna Soul Blast out the grade 1 here. And countercharge this one. We're going to use this skill now to Soul Blast out the Lillian. And we're going to use this skill to put in the Lin into Soul. Okay. We're going to check our Soul. Hopefully have enough time here. I can't believe my controller died at that point in time. Gonna use the order here. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time unless I manage to learn the controls. Lickety split. No, not that one. We're gonna counter blast to here. And I guess we just end phase. Oh boy. Confirm. Jesus, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. God, why did I lose so much time? That's a bit unfortunate. They are going to heal also. We should have taken extra damage, but I pressed the button. I guarded, but I actually didn't want to guard, so I was like, whatever, we'll guard here. Okay. There we go. I don't think we're gonna have time here. Oh god, not Falcate. Fuck off, Falcate. Oh my god, I'm not gonna have enough time. I'm gonna run out of time. Nope, that's not what I want. Alright. Because we ran out. Unless I hit the over trigger here and a crit. Yeah. I don't know how we ran out of time. Like, I paused for like maybe a millisecond to try and figure out this whole thing, but alright, let's see if I can get that. Okay. You can have this, and from here you can have this and this. I didn't even get to look your skill, bro. And this and this. That was so unfortunate. I don't really see how I ran out of so much time, and now I still have to play time down low. I guess I spent a lot of time talking in the beginning. We're just gonna take this. They are going to heal yet again. Oh boy. We had the game within our grasp. I'm not gonna say we were gonna immediately, we had it, but we definitely had it more than we do now. I can tell you that much. Oh boy. Okay. We're gonna take 2 here. It's gonna basically cost us the game, I think. That turn. There's a persona right here, and then we're going to hit a critical trigger, which might not matter because of how many defensive they hit, and I still have no time. What is this injustice that is happening right now? I did not spend that much time. Alright, I'll have to go back and watch the video and see if I just dilly-dallied for like an hour. Because like, I just have no time to do anything. My gosh. Alright, you're gonna guard me. My opponent has like a whole minute or two. Go ahead and use that. Discard that. And I can't even like quickly check what is the state. I have one thing in soul, everything is in prison, okay. So we're in a pretty bad spot here. Now we actually have a full timer. See if we can not fob this up. We're gonna go ahead and hit that. let's move this up. I have to call out cards from Soul, but I cannot. So the most I can do is, does it matter using Lukier's skill? I feel like that's not gonna help me a lot, right? It's just gonna give me cards from Soul, but like, what does that matter right now, I guess? So let's go ahead and counterblast. Yeah, because then I can't use the order. I feel like using the order is a lot more effective here. So we're gonna counterblast one. I always call out the dragon. They're not gonna be as strong, so I don't need to call out two. So let's call out Lynn. Put this here. Just need to have the dragon. Use the soul, the skill of this here. Put the Lily in here into Soul. All right. We're gonna use this skill here to put this into Soul. Alright, we're gonna get another dragon here. Before I forget, let's go ahead and pay the counterblast for this already. And put that on that. And we're gonna go ahead and pay the skill here. Soul Blast out this. We need to get as many homers as we can. We can't get, unfortunately, any other boosters. So blast again here. Let's call out the Lillian, put her here. And yeah, whatever. I should have just called out the Rising Dragon so that this wouldn't activate, but that is fine. Let's go ahead and use the skill here one last time. So blast out our beautiful Lugier from the Ride deck here, the FFR1. To call out the Urge to Late here, because she does hit for slightly better numbers. Actually, the Lillian I think was stronger, huh? So that was stupid of me, but hey, whatever. I've done nothing but be stupid in this second game here. So we're just going to go ahead and swing in here for 20. Our dragon is going to be able to get the plus 10 when he comes out from Soul again, but we just have to hope that we can somehow amass enough of an offense here, because we have nothing for next turn. We have no way to countercharge, unfortunately, due to the fact that I couldn't put in my cards into Soul last time here. So we're gonna go ahead and use this, put this into Soul. I have two ways to do this. I can keep my Soul at a minimum, or I can use the dragon here to put this and try and draw a card, possibly throw out the deck into a trigger that I wasn't gonna hit, even though I'm gonna have cards in Soul anyways. So we're gonna try our best here. See if we can get something. No, come on. Give us a big hit, please. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's just cards that are going to go into the prison next turn, because we know they have at least another Pure Light, right? Because of the way they discarded early in the game. Okay. Alright, this is 28. So we'll do this puny attack here. I could have also not given them the counter blast, but they could have just swung it and killed us, right? So I don't know. I'm not in a position to be damaging, denying anyone here, right? So I would say on the off chance that they just don't have anything, right? But whatever. We just have to go with as much as we can here. I can try and leave the dragon out, put in like some other stuff, and then give them other stuff so I still have the shield value on board. They're just gonna take the damage here because it doesn't matter to them, and they might not even have the best way to guard, so they probably won't bother. We'll actually put this and this on the off chance we hit a heal trigger. We can try and use this. We're gonna draw a draw trigger, which gives us a tiny bit of shield here. They only have 2 cards in prison. They are gonna call final turn, as is probably deserved. As you go into their other serve, Whitehall here. My only hope is, I guess, they deck out. I don't know, or I hit over trigger, but honestly, the over trigger might not help me depending on when it comes through, because they might be able to get the 10 cards in prison here. So from my hand, you can have this and this. From my field, you can have this and this, and from my soul, you can have this and this. So that's only going to be 8. I do have the one-time stop on this attack here for free, and we can use everything else to guard one of the other attacks. After that, it's just up to whatever we hopefully get, and then we can combat their hand of like 12 cards or something in hand at the end of this turn. But, yeah, presumably this will activate to give them the 10th card in prison cell. Or not, I guess. Or did it already? I think they already did. Okay, never mind. And then they're gonna use this because I have 4 cards exactly. I have to put a card from my hand into the prison, which is gonna give them 10. Which means everything in front row gets a critical. Alright. And I guess something gets power. Yeah. That turn was super. Like, I'm not saying again I would have won, right? I don't know. I would have definitely been in a 100% better spot had I not essentially wasted a turn, right? I was gonna say, if they don't hit any triggers and I hit 2 heals, maybe, but never mind. Because this is like, this is 43 and they hit the over trigger. So that is gonna do it. I'm obviously beyond dead at this point because everything has 4 crit. I don't think I have that many heals left in deck. That is just super unfortunate that I ran out of time. You know, but you got to see, at least in the first game, kind of the things you want to do. You got to see what I was gonna do, I hope, in the second game here, where I was going to, you know, get the counter charge, swinging for big numbers, try to push the pressure, reduce the hand, so that next turn things wouldn't be so bad, and then, you know, try and put specific things in our soul to play around the pure light. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because if you run out of time or your opponent hits OT, I won't lose next time. But in any case, until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, play Vanguard, and have yourselves a damn good one.